Hi, I'm Slam Gaming. If you made a list of every person's favorite Pokemon, I guarantee that the starters of all 9 generations would be amongst the most represented. They're normally pretty strong. They're 3-stage evolutions, so you have 3 chances to appreciate them, and most of all, they are literally guaranteed to be everyone's first Pokemon. Well, okay, maybe if your first game was Colosseum, you'd like Umbreon or Espeon the most, but even then, Eevee is a certified starter Pokemon these days, so it still kinda fits. Also, to address the elephant in the room, I will not be referring to them as first partner Pokemon, even if Pokemon themselves insist on calling them that. It's just too clunky to say so many times. Anyway, Pokemon is bringing all 9 generations of starters to Scarlet and Violet via the upcoming Indigo Disc DLC, and I'm someone who quite enjoys playing VGC. Seeing all of these familiar faces return is really exciting, and I'm eager to give all of them a go in the competitive formats ahead. In fact, I've already taken the Sinnoh starters out for a spin, and the results were pretty shocking, so keep an eye out for that upcoming video. And subscribe if you want to make sure that you see it, thank you. Plug is over, please subscribe, thank you. But to be honest, we all know about the good starters. I hesitate to even say Incineroar's name, lest the specter of Gen 8 VGC steal my soul. And beyond just the fiery cat, plenty of other starters have had past success in competitive play, or even excelled in Scarlet and Violet's earlier VGC scene. But unfortunately, not all of them are going to be so lucky. And rather than fight over who gets top crown, I want to try to get to the bottom of things. Literally. Which starter trio is going to be the worst to use in Scarlet and Violet VGC? One quick caveat. Some of the newly returning starters will receive some buffs and nerfs when they re-enter the scene, due to new TMs and movesets. Also, Pokemon opened the door to changing hidden abilities in the Teal Mask DLC, which changed Empoleon's from Defiant to Competitive, something that really shot it up in viability. So there's still a little bit of variability in my predictions, but for the most part, we should be able to project with a fair amount of certainty, especially amongst the worst of the bunch. First up, we need to remove the clearly good trios. Incineroar is good enough to carry Gen 7 on its own, but Primarina isn't anything to sniff at, and Decidueye even got a new form in Legends Arceus. Combine that with the end of Dynamax, and I think that they are only going to get better than they were in Sword and Shield. Easy removal from contention. The Kanto starters are good. Always have been, always will be. Maybe not world beaters in this gen, but good. Chlorophyll Venusaur with Sleep Powder is VGC's version of Russian Roulette, Solar Power Charizard is a nuclear detonation waiting to happen, and Blastoise brings up the rear with good bulk and sneaky good supporting moves. Terra is also only going to make them better and harder to counter. Another easy removal from the list. There are 2 gens of starters that are going to be saved mostly on the back of one stellar member, and those are Gens 4 and 8. Empoleon and Rillaboom are having real play in the most recent format, and that is going to be enough to put them out of the running for worst. Also, for what it's worth, Cinderace and Torterra have some possible niche uses that at least keep them interesting. Inteleon just hasn't ever been good, but Infernape has Fake Out, so it'll enjoy that until Incineroar shows up and outclasses it in every way. Thus is the circle of life of VGC. Let's talk about Gen 9 now, the starters native to Paldea. They're in a tough spot. Early on in Gen 9 VGC, they were legitimately great. Then Fluttermane became legal. Now they are all below 1% usage. I don't know that I've ever seen such a drop-off from one Pokemon's entrance, and it's only gotten worse as more Pokemon have been added to the game. Why use Meowscarada when Rillaboom is here and has Fake Out? Why use Quaquaval when Urshifu Rapid Strike can hit through Protect? Why use Skeledirge when Chi-Yu has a much better ability and resists Fluttermane's Ghost-type attacks? The alternatives are endless, and they push the Paldea starters off of a usage cliff. But I'm not putting them to the bottom. At the end of the day, they still have good abilities, great signature moves, and pretty good stats. You can envision them becoming relevant again if the meta ever shifts away from a ghost fairy type that can send all of them to the Shadow Realm. Off the list. Now we're into the nitty-gritty, the final four. It's starting to get tough to eliminate trios. They are all getting a little soft, but I know who is out of the running next. Unova has been generally pretty bad as a competitive trio over the years. To be honest, that's being kind. They've been awful. But a couple of things are lifting them up in Gen 9. First up, Samurott has a new form thanks to Legends Arceus, complete with an amazing ability in Sharpness, a great signature move in Ceaseless Edge, and a dual water dark typing that actually suffers a little from the newfound fairy and fighting weaknesses, but isn't too much worse in a meta where grass is already a pretty dominant typing. It's better than base Samurott, but that might not even be the most exciting member of the trio. I think a lot of us are excited for Serperior to make its Switch debut, and there's no better time than now, with Terra maybe being exactly what Serperior has needed to excel. Leaf Storm and Contrary are a phenomenal pair, and Contrary in general is ripe for more gimmicky strats with a partner raising your stats. Think a prankster Whimsicott using fake tears to immediately double your special defenses. Terra Fire, Terra Blast already sounds like a good combo, and I can't wait to see what the Serpent can do soon. Emboar is not going to be great. I hope I'm proven wrong, I really do, but probably not. Nonetheless, Unova is saved. Many of you are probably surprised to see the Hoenn starters this low. For a long time, they have been not just decent, but pretty good. Swampert in particular has used its bulk and only one weakness to be at least viable for as long as I can remember. But Rillaboom and Ogerpon are running rampant right now, and those grass titans are going to make Swampert functionally unusable in Scarlet and Violet. Sure, you can terrastalize Swampert, but you can't have one team member entirely rely on terastallization and succeed that often. Surprisingly, it's going to be the other two starters that carry Hoenn out of the basement here. In Gen 8, Sceptile and Blaziken were niche picks at best, terrible picks at worst. But without Gigantamax, and with grass resistances super useful, they may have something to offer. Sceptile's Unburden ability is prime for gimmicky strats with something like a weakness policy, but that's still something. And Speed Boost Blaziken may have its best run in a while in this format, with the crucial fire typing negating a fairy weakness. I could see a Terra Flying set being particularly useful, removing that ground weakness in favor of an immunity and new stab potential. But again, Incineroar will eventually crush my hopes on this one, but I can dream. And I can also save Hoenn from the worst trio in VGC. 2 left. One of these trios is going to be the worst in VGC in Gen 9. Which will it be? The last trio, saved from the jaws of being the worst available, is Johto. Now before you call favoritism, yes, Johto is my favorite region, but hear me out. They're not good. I acknowledge that. Meganium is a bulky wall that has nothing to do beyond sit on the field and wait to faint. Somehow, a substitute Leech Seed stall set makes me feel even worse about it, because that's pretty lame. Feraligatr has stats that used to be okay, but 105 attack isn't the achievement it used to be. Terastallizing doesn't really help either of these two, either. It all comes down to Typhlosion. This is the reason that they are not the worst trio. Not even regular Typhlosion either. It's the Hisuian form of Typhlosion that matters. But Slam, didn't you just say Skeleturge fell off the map as a fire ghost type because of Fluttermane? Yes, I did. But Typhlosion has a nice signature move in Infernal Parade that can fish for burns, and Eruption. Being moderately speedy with Eruption is just enough to put Johto over the last place trio. Maybe with Tailwind support and Sun, Typhlosion can sweep. That maybe is what it takes to be second from the bottom. Now, I hope every day that Pokemon gives the other two starters some new abilities and movesets to make them more relevant. but without knowing that for sure, I can still put them above our last trio standing. Kalos, you poor things. You used to be on top of the world. Well, not all of you, but Ash Greninja was a beast. Like, actually broken. Now, the Battle Bond ability just gives you some stat boosts, and that's only if you can take a KO, which is easier said than done. But let's just get to the meat and potatoes here. Both objectively and situationally to Gen 9, the Kalos starters just don't have much going for them. Chestnut has a terrible typing if you're going to be slow, and it's not even slow enough to be a Trick Room sweeper. Sure, you can Terra, but for what? Terra Steel Ironhead, maybe? But is that really enough? Plus, 6 of the 10 Pokemon by usage right now hit you for super effective stab. Not good. Greninja is really cool, but is just too frail and not strong enough. I personally have been trying to make it work on the ladder for weeks now, but the immense speed just doesn't lead to the KOs that you need to justify using it. If it hit like a truck, maybe a Focus Sash set could work, but it doesn't, and Protean can't save it either. And then there's Delphox, a Pokemon thoroughly outclassed by Armarouge in basically every way. Fire and Psychic isn't even an amazing typing to begin with, but Delphox just isn't fast enough, and has special bulk that looks better than it actually is. And then there's the hidden ability Magician, which I dare say has no functional use competitively, and can even be a negative, like if you accidentally steal an Assault Vest when you need to use Protect. It's really bad. At the end of the day, all 3 of them don't hit hard enough, and then have sneaky bad supporting movesets, and that makes them all virtually unusable. And don't take my word for it, look at their actual usage rates through the most recent format. Nothing even close to 0.25%. They're really, really bad. And I wish they would be better, but the window for improvement is basically closed at this point. I can genuinely see no roadmap to them being better in this current gen of competitive play. Sorry guys, maybe next gen. Alright, that's about it. I have officially crowned the Kalos starter trio as the worst that Gen 9 will see when they're all legal for competitive play. Do you agree? Is this what you thought I would say? Are you currently using the Kalos starters right now with any degree of success? Because if you are, I could really use some help. Let me know all of that and more below. And if you enjoyed the video, liking and subscribing really go a long way. Thanks for watching, too. As always, I'm Slam Gaming, and have a great rest of your day. See you next time.